Number 10, I'll start tomorrow. Ah, yes, the classic brain lie. The mental equivalent of saying, I'll only watch one more episode at 3:47 a.m. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow because future you is somehow a flawless productivity robot with boundless motivation, a balanced diet, and a morning yoga routine. Future you is just present you with slightly messier hair and even more guilt. Psychologically, this is called temporal discounting your brain values, immediate comfort more than future rewards. It's like if your mind was running a shady pawn shop, trading priceless long-term goals for the instant dopamine hit of doing literally anything else. And it feels normal because your brain disguises it as planning. You're not procrastinating, oh no, you're strategically delaying, which is just procrastination with a fake mustache. Here's the real danger. Every time you start tomorrow, you train your brain that today's discomfort is optional, which means that when tomorrow finally arrives, your brain votes to delay again. It's a mental loop that turns goals into ghost towns, filled with the abandoned shells of, I'll get around to it promises. Basically, you've been ghosting yourself. Number 9, that's just the way I am. This one's sneaky. It sounds self-aware, but it's actually your brain handing in its resignation letter. You spill coffee on yourself every morning? That's just the way I am. You can't remember names? That's just the way I am. Congratulations, you've just converted a solvable problem into a permanent personality trait. Psychologists call this a fixed mindset, believing your abilities are locked in stone. It feels safe because it removes the pressure to change. Why bother practicing if you're just bad at it? But that's like refusing to clean your kitchen because dishes get dirty again. Technically true, but also, ew. Here's the catch. The moment you declare something just the way you are, your brain stops looking for solutions. You unknowingly put yourself in a little self-improvement prison cell where the bars are made of your own excuses. And worst of all, you hold the keys, but you're too busy saying, nah, I like the decor in here. Number 8, I deserve this. Oh, the 4 magic words that turn a casual treat into a 6-hour binge of bad decisions. You've had a stressful day, you deserve takeout. You finished a big project, you deserve to blow half your paycheck online at 2 a.m. You successfully resisted a cupcake yesterday, well, now you deserve 2. Psychologically, this is moral licensing when your brain treats one good action like a coupon for a bad one. You worked out this morning, so clearly that offsets the triple bacon cheeseburger you're ordering tonight. You donated to charity, so you're allowed to ignore that friend's text for 3 weeks. It's like running a mental point system where the currency is vibes. The problem? Your brain's reward math is absolute chaos. The deserve switch makes you excuse behaviors that directly sabotage your goals. It's as if you're trying to fill a bathtub while simultaneously kicking the plug out, but hey, the water was warm for a second, so you're satisfied. The danger isn't the reward itself, it's how easily it mutates from self-care into self-sabotage. Number 7, it could be worse. On paper, this sounds healthy gratitude and perspective and all that. And sure, sometimes it's good to remember that your burnt toast isn't the end of the world. But here's the twist. It could be worse is often a cute little disguise for emotional avoidance. Instead of actually processing a bad situation, you just tell yourself, well, other people have it harder, so I should shut up. That's like getting a flat tire and saying, at least my house didn't explode. Technically true, but also your car is still undrivable. The danger here is subtle. Over time, you teach yourself to minimize your own problems. You stop asking for help because you decide you should be able to handle it alone. And slowly, the unprocessed junk piles up like emotional laundry in the back of your mental closet. Eventually, you open the door and surprise, an avalanche of repressed feelings buries you alive. In other words, it could be worse is fine for traffic jams and overcooked pasta, but maybe don't use it as your universal coping strategy unless you enjoy being emotionally constipated. Number 6, I'm just being realistic. Ah, the polite cousin of I can't. You tell yourself you're not being negative, you're just being realistic, which usually means you've wrapped pessimism in a thin layer of logic so it feels smart. You're not going to apply for that dream job because realistically, they won't pick you. You're not going to try that hobby because realistically, you'll be bad at it. This is defensive pessimism. And while a tiny sprinkle can protect you from disappointment, too much turns into a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like never stepping onto the dance floor because you know you'll look ridiculous when in reality, the only thing that looks ridiculous is you, alone in the corner, holding a warm drink and regretting your entire life. The brain loves this trick because it feels like you're making rational choices, but what you're really doing is pre-rejecting yourself before the world even gets a chance. You're basically your own worst HR department tossing your resume into the trash before the interview even happens. And if you do that long enough, your world gets smaller and smaller until being realistic just means being stuck. Number 5, that's not my problem. In some cases, yes, it's healthy to set boundaries. Your neighbor's argument about whose turn it is to mow the lawn, definitely not your circus, not your monkeys. But when "that's not my problem" becomes your default setting, you slide into the warm, slippery swamp of learned indifference. This is when you start ignoring issues that are connected to you, simply because dealing with them feels inconvenient. Your team at work is struggling, not your problem until their struggle tanks the project you're on. Your friend's subtle cry for help, not your problem until they stop texting altogether and you realize you might have been the lifeline. The danger is that this mindset can make you accidentally cruel. It's not always about taking responsibility for everything, but it is about recognizing when "not my problem" is just a lazy excuse to avoid discomfort. Because, yeah, helping might take effort. But so does pretending you didn't see the metaphorical dumpster fire as you walked by. Number 4, I don't have time. This is the adult version of "the dog ate my homework." And okay, sometimes it's true. Life can be a relentless avalanche of work, family, and the occasional crisis involving a mysteriously broken appliance. But a lot of the time, "I don't have time" is really just I don't want to admit I'm not making time. Psychologists call this time scarcity bias, the tendency to feel perpetually short on hours, even when your schedule technically could fit that thing you don't have time for. The danger? You start believing your own excuse so hard that you never reevaluate it. You automatically dismiss opportunities because you've labeled yourself as a chronically overbooked person. It's like keeping your fridge too full for vegetables, but when you actually check, it's just condiments and a suspicious yogurt from 2021. In reality, the time is often there, but it's getting eaten by scrolling, procrastination, and other sneaky time vampires. And the more you tell yourself you're too busy, the more you lock yourself into that identity. Basically, you're a prisoner in a time cell, and the bars are just made of Netflix episodes. Number 3, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. This one feels so peaceful, so zen, until you realize it's basically the philosophical version of sitting on your couch and waiting for pizza to magically appear. Sure, there's a certain comfort in thinking the universe has a master plan, but there's also a name for relying too much on fate, external locus of control, the belief that your life is shaped entirely by outside forces. When you lean too hard on this mindset, you stop acting. You convince yourself that effort doesn't matter because the right thing will find you, which is great for fairy tales, but in real life, opportunities usually don't knock unless you built the door first. Here's the catch. Believing in fate isn't bad on its own. The danger is using it as a get out of effort free card. You start treating your life like a passenger seat ride, except you also forgot to tell the driver where you want to go. And guess what? The universe has no GPS. So sure, maybe what's meant to be will happen, but only if you stop watching from the bleachers and actually join the game. Number 2, I'm fine. Ah yes, the 2-word emotional invisibility cloak. You could be in the middle of a full-blown life implosion, your job's hanging by a thread, your apartment's a mess, and your last 3 meals have been instant noodles, but the second someone asks, you smile and drop the "I'm fine." Sometimes it's politeness, sometimes it's avoidance, and sometimes it's because admitting the truth feels like opening a can of emotional worms you're not ready to deal with. Psychologists call this emotional suppression, the act of pushing feelings down instead of expressing them. It's like stuffing all your laundry into a closet before guests come over. Sure, it looks clean until the door bursts open and everything collapses onto your face. The danger is that suppressed emotions don't just vanish. They hang around, influencing your mood, your relationships, even your physical health. Over time, "I'm fine" becomes your auto response, and you lose track of how not fine you actually are. It's like forgetting you have a leak in the ceiling because you've gotten used to the drip. Eventually, though, something's gonna flood. Number one, that'll never happen to me. Oh, the sweet innocence of thinking you're the exception to every bad outcome. You see someone get wreck their health or lose everything in a freak accident, and your brain whispers, "That's unfortunate, but I'm different." This is the optimism bias, the belief that negative events are less likely to happen to you than to other people. It's a weird survival mechanism that keeps us from living in constant paranoia, but it also makes us underestimate risks. You skip insurance because you're careful. You ignore warning signs because things like that don't happen here. You text while driving because you can handle it. The problem? Reality does not care about your main character energy. Nobody gets a special immunity card. And when you treat danger like a background problem for other people, you end up less prepared for the moment it does knock on your door, which it will, eventually. The truth is, the most dangerous thoughts aren't the ones that scream, "I'm reckless." They're the quiet ones you've been carrying for years, the ones that feel so normal you barely notice them. And those can shape your entire life without you ever realizing it.